Hello there and welcome to this broadcast. This is Alejandro and I'm here to talk about a tutorial. Here today we're going to create a plugin using WordPress plugin template. Now this is a plugin package that you can download from GitHub. So the first thing you need to do is to download and install Composer. So you click here on Composer and install Composer on your machine. That's the first thing you must do because Composer will add all the dependencies of the project, so it's very important that you have Composer installed before you begin with the development of your plugin. So the next step will be to download the release. You can click here on release and download the latest version. Here right now there's only the version 1, so I'm going to use that for the sake of this tutorial. So what you have to do is here I have the plugin and I need to copy this to the name of my plugin. So you can see here on this path, here I have a clean new brand copy of or installation of WordPress. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create my very own plugin, and what we're going to do essentially, we're going to add a new field, a meta box, and save the price for a post. That's what we're going to do. A price for a post and the same functionality for it. So the first thing we're going to do is create a folder here on the plugins. I'm going to call this my awesome price. That's the name of the plugin that I'm going to create. So first thing I do is to place here is on the plugins folder. So all the plugins that you have installed and you have downloaded will be placed here. So here's where you want to create your plugin folder, your main plugin root. So after that, you copy all of this and paste it on my awesome project or your plugin in this case. And once this is copied like this, you will open your command prompt and go ahead and point to this folder. So I'm going to do that right now. So we're going to do this because we want to be able, we want to use Composer. Composer is kind of a way to make dependencies of your project, and you can do this via command prompt. So we're going to do this in order to install our project, okay? So let me continue going towards the route, sorry, okay, the path. Plugins, and this folder is called my awesome price. Okay, so I'm here on the root of the project I'm about to create. So what I have to do is Composer install. That's what I need to type and press enter, and with that, just with that, you will see how the thing is downloading all the dependencies, and it's starting to create the project, so I can start like developing my own plugin. So you can see it's downloading the MVC, the special plugin. Okay, so everything downloaded, great. The next step I need to do is to set the name for my plugin, and this is because you don't know if there might be conflicts if you don't change that name, because maybe other projects or other plugins are using the same template. So it's the best thing for you to change the name of the template. So to do this, you type PHP ayuko and set name, and for this we're going to set the namespace or name for our project. In this case will be my awesome price, and press enter, and that will be done. I already set up the name of my namespace. That's cool. Okay, so the next step will be I'm going to open the project and start coding for it. So you will see, you can go ahead and maybe see the documentation for the MVC, the Lightwave MVC. You will find a lot of information about the project. By default, the plugin comes with the post over here. So this is the model for the post, and I could do a lot of cool stuff here in order to make to create my own stuff, my own customizations over the post thing. So what I want to do now, I want to create and I want to add the price attribute or property to the post. in order to do this, in database, there's no field for the price, but we can use the post meta table to add this information to the post. So what I'm going to do this is a little tricky thing that the lightweight MVC has. So I'm going to create a protected, and I'm going to call to the aliases. So I can create aliases for in this case, aliases for the aliases for the columns or the fields or attributes that I'm going to use in my model. So I call to aliases, and here I'm going to start like creating things. So, and there's a cool stuff I can do here. Like instead of, I'm going to use title, I'm going to create the alias for title for the field post title. So by doing this, what I can do is, like instead of doing this, like post title, right? I can easily just call title because I'm creating, or I am assigning an alias for that. So I'm going to do the same thing, but for a meta value. So to do this, I'm going to create a new alias, type it price, and here I can do this. Add the prefix that is meta underscore, and then the name of the key for the price, or the key for the meta value that you want to create. In this case, we're going to create one called meta price. So at the end on the meta table, what is going to happen is going to be the model is going to create a new record for this post, or for the post that is related, right? And it's going to create a new record for the price key. Okay. I can do more stuff, like for instance, setting up for example, if I don't know, like create a function here, like public function is free, right? And we are going to have a condition that will return a boolean that, right, if this price is less, or no, is equals, right, to 0, or less than 0, right, then that should be free. So you can also add this an alias for your model. So it will be like it's free, and instead of calling to a meta or an attribute within the post table, you call to a function and say like function, in this case, is free. And with that you can do something like this, like call post is free, and that will work. Same thing with price. That's what we want to accomplish. So I'm going to put that in there, like where the way it is right now. So with this we have, is free. Yeah, it was looking kind of weird. Now with this we have an attribute for title, price is free, and obviously I have access to all the other attributes of the post database or model. In this case, the UI, the content, and more information about this. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Okay, so what we need to do right now is we're going to add, right, a meta box for on the form on the dashboard. So we're going to do two things. First of all, we're going to create that meta box so we are able, or the admins are able, to add a price to a post. And then we're going to extend the content that when the post is being displayed, so we can attach or append the information of the price at the bottom of the content that is going to be displayed for the post. So to do that, we're going to create views. Okay, so we come to the views here, and I want to have some order and some nice structures of my views. So I'm going to create a new folder over here, and I'm going to call it price. So all the views that will be related to the price will be set or stored there. So the first view that I'm going to create will be for the meta box, right? So I'm going to create a new file, and here I just do a plain HTML thing. That's all I need to do. So I'm going to do a div class. Will be this a price, right? That's one this is like the container that will contain the input for the price. And then here we're going to create a label for we're going to assign a name of the column meta price, and then label like that. Oh, sorry for that, label, and here will be price like that, and we're going to add the input. Okay, so for the input, obviously it should be type text, and the ID we can set up to be meta price. Same thing, should be the same thing as the label. And what else? For the name will be the same thing. And for the placeholder, we can place a placeholder. Maybe in example $9.99, right? And for the value, now here's the thing. What we want to do here, because there are two views, two different ways to display the input. One, when the post is not created and we have an empty field, right? And second, when the post is already created and we want to display the value that is currently saved for the price, so we are able to modify it. So what we do here is we are going to pass by to this view a post model or a post object. So with this, we can access easily to the price. So I'm for sure know, or we for sure we are designing this, and we know that we're going to pass by a post object. So I'm going to echo the post object and call to price. So that's our view, and this will be meta box. PHP. Obviously, all your views must be on PHP. Cannot be another format and other extension. It should be a PHP file. So I'm creating here on views, price, meta box. Here is information that's going to be displayed on the dashboard. Now I'm going to create a new view. In this case, this will be the view that is going to be appended to the post content. So same thing here. I'm going to create a div for the price, a class price, but obviously I don't want an input. I just want to display the price. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to call to the strong tag, and maybe post price, and here we are going to call the price. And same thing as the meta box, where we are going to do for this view, we're going to pass by a post object or a post model, so it can display the information here. So echo post price. And for this, we're going to call it content. That's it. So right now we have two views. We have our model created for post, and we have two different views, one for content and one for the meta box. Now what we need to do is to create the controller that is going to be the one, or the responsible to display this information. So here, on the controllers folder, I'm going to add a new file, and I'm going to create a controller. Now I have some example over here that are already prepared for this for this thing. Okay. Okay, let's open up here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to remove it, then all the information within the class, so you can see how should the controller look like. Okay, so this, first of all, let me comment this because this is optional. So this should be the base structure of your controller based on the Lightwave MVC thing, or the Lightwave MVC framework that comes with the package. So the first thing you might notice is why I commented this. So this is a helper class. The request class is a helper class that will help you get information that is coming as input from the post or get or query vars of WordPress. So it's very easy for you to use it and retrieve the information from any kind of input, selects, text areas, or whatever. You can do that. The next thing is calling the controller that will give you functionality to call views and other things. And then, this is very important, we are using the post model within our project. So look at the difference. So the namespace is my awesome project controllers, and we're using my awesome project models post. Usually it should be the same path where the actual file is located. So you can see here on plugin models post, here's what it is being stored, and you can see the namespace, my awesome project models. Okay, so let's save this right as price controller.php. Okay, so we have the controller, but right now it's not doing anything, right? Here we have the controller. So we're going to create, what do we need to do here? Okay, so the first thing we want to do with our controller is to be able to display the meta box. So for this, I'm going to create a new function called maybe meta box, right? And we're going to pass by the information that will come from WordPress hook or WordPress filter. In this case, it's a WordPress hook, and I'm pretty sure that the variable that's going to be being passed by will be a post object. A post object that is going to be passed by. Okay, so we have the public meta box post. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do now, we're now going to add a little description of what this function is going to do. So it will be displays meta box on admin dashboard. That's what this function will do. And as parameter, we will receive a object, right, post, and pretty much I think it's a WordPress post object. And we don't have any return, so that's okay. Okay, so the first function that we're going to create is the meta box. The second function will be the function that actually saves the information in the database. So we're going to create a new function for this. We are going to fill it right now, or not right now, but as long well, within this tutorial. So will be a save, and the difference between the meta box is that for the hook that saves the post, I'm pretty sure that WordPress passed by the post ID. So we will going to receive a post ID instead of a post object. Okay, I think it was like that. Yes, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so will be this saves price information. That's what this function is going to do. And as parameter is receiving and the post ID, right, which is the ID, and it will not return anything. It doesn't need to return anything. And then the third function that we're going to create here will be the function that will actually display or filter the contents and add or append the view that we created to the content. So we're going to add like filter content. And I'm pretty sure that the information that will come here is the post ID and the actual content that needs to be filtered. Okay, so yeah, these filters post content and adds price view. That's what this does. Okay, so the first parameter will be an int post ID, and the second one I'm pretty sure is the content, string content. In this case, WordPress is expecting us to return the content, so we're going to return the string or the content for it. Return content. Okay, so right now obviously, as you can see, our controller is not doing anything. We need this controller to do something, and we're going to work first with the meta box. Okay, so I have already something here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to explain what it does. Okay, so for the meta box, what I'm doing is first of all creating the WordPress nonsense field. This field helps you, I mean, when you're creating a meta boxes or something that is different from the post, the default WordPress post, you create this in order to validate that the form that you're creating, the meta box that you're creating within the post is valid. So we are creating this special nonsense field, and then look at this. We are returning. Oh yeah, this returns a view. Sorry. Return view. And same thing for this. No, this saves. This returns. Okay. This returns the view. Okay, perfect. So what we are doing is that okay, so look at this. So we create the nonsense thing, and then we're saying, okay, for the meta box that we're going to display, simply let's get the view that we just created that is located on price meta box. So you can see I'm calling to this view get, and this is the identifier of the view I created, price.metabox. Though it could have been just metabox, but the thing is that the Lightwave MVC will be will try to search for the metabox.php outside the price folder. So we add the price dot to indicate that this is within a project under the views folder. So it should be the price metabox. And here, look at this. Here is where we are assigning or passing by the parameter to the view. So as you can see on the meta box that we created, we're expecting a post value, a post parameter. Sorry. So here you can see that we are sending as post parameter the post model here, and we're looking at or finding the post ID. I could have just passed by the post, but since we're working with our own custom or the frameworks model, I'm sending here the post model. Okay? So this is what it does. Now on the save file, on the save thing, when this is going to be saved, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to explain it too. So this is to display the meta box, right? This will display the meta box or the content within the meta box that we're going to create, and the save file should be able to save the post or the information of the price. So you can see here on the content, we're going to review it. The first thing I'm doing, I'm calling to nonsense, and I'm using the request input or the request class to get information of the nonsense. Now this is very important. Then the input has three values or three parameters that you can use. You normally will use only two, but the third one will clear out the source of the value or the source of the input. This will help you. In this case, this is important for the nonsense because if we do not clear the nonsense, we will get into an endless loop, because when we do this, the post save, it will call to this function again and again and again, because it is saving the post over and over. So we don't want that behavior to happen. That's why here we are clearing out the nonsense. Obviously we're getting for the first time the information, and after we get information, we are saying to the request, hey, you know what, clear it. We are not going to use it anymore. So this is where the validation comes to by, or here's where we are using that validation to do that. So obviously we're not saving for autosave, and we are here validating or verifying the nonsense, that this nonsense is equals to this one, or this information is the same. So that's why it's very important when you're creating things custom for your posts or something like that, like meta boxes or extra information that is going to be saved, or where you have to grab input. It's very important that you add the nonsense and you make this validation. Okay, so once this validation is complete, we can save the information that is coming from the meta box. So what we do is, first of all, we find the post that we're going to update, right? So we are not creating the post because WordPress is already creating or already created the post. So we already, the first time that the post is going to be created, the one that is going to be that will create the post will be WordPress, not the plugin. So we are expecting only to update the post with the information that we're going to get from the input. That's all what we need to do. So here we get the post, and after that, look at this. We call to the price attribute or the price alias that we established on our post on our post model, and then we assign as input the meta price that we define here on the input. You see, meta price. And whereas here, and if there's no input defined, we can set the default value, and here I'm setting up to be 0.0, and after that we just save. That's all that we need to do. very easy. Now, as for the content or the filter that we're going to add, this is very easy too. As you can see, I'm going to copy this, we're going to review it, and here we are returning the content, but we're doing a concat of the content, or appending the content with, in this case, the view, price, content, to which we are sending or passing by as parameter the post model. Very straightforward. As you can see on the content here, we're receiving the post, or we are expecting to receive the post, and that's exactly what this filter content is doing. Okay, so we have a price controller. We have something that is very organized, that we know that looks nice, but the question now is, how can we mix, or how can we link all together and make WordPress be able to get access to the controller, to the views, and everything that we just did? Well, within the plugin folder, there is a class called main. If I open this class, you will see, let me close all the other let me close first all the other files. Let me just verify that the price controller is okay. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so the main file, the main.php file, is kind of a bridge between WordPress and your plugin, or your functionality that you need to apply, or you need to link, like hooks, filters, and that stuff that is part of WordPress needs to be defined here. You need to declare everything here on the main thing. So I will show you how to do it. Okay, so let's do the first thing, okay? We're going to, so there are two, sorry, before I do that, let me explain these two functions or methods that you're seeing in this class. So the first one is the init. So all the public hooks or filters that you need to add to the to your plugin should be declared on the init function or init method. Like for instance, the content that we need to filter needs to be in the init, because that's something that must be seen by the guests or any normal user of your WordPress site. But like the meta box and the save functionality, save post functionality, sorry, must be set or defined on admin function, because that's something that is actually part of the admin dashboard and not be that should not be able to be accessed by the public. So that's what we're going to do. The first thing that we need to do is add the hook for the in this case for the meta box. So same thing as the controller, I have something that I already created here, and I'm going to explain it step by step. So the first thing that we're going to add is the meta box. That's what we need to do. So we're going to call to the WordPress add meta boxes, and we're going to call the function meta boxes that should be declared or should be created within the main.php file. I mean, it should be created within this class. Okay, and we're passing by as reference the main class. Okay, so we're going to copy this function, which is exactly what it does. So as you can see here, what I'm doing is, okay, so for the add meta boxes action, we are going to call the meta boxes function within the main class. So that's what we created, the meta boxes function. And on the meta boxes function, I think we can remove this, we're not going to use it. On the meta boxes function, we're going to create a new meta box. In this case will be my awesome price with the title, price information, and the content that is going to be displayed should be called by the function meta box price. That's the function that we're going to create just now. This will be a meta box only for posts, and it should be on a normal priority. You can make it like place it higher than the content and or below all the other meta boxes. That's something that you can define here on the add meta box. The documentation for it, the documentation for this is on the WordPress site, so you can go and check it out there. Okay, so we're going to add the meta box price thing. Okay, so we're saying that for this meta box, this is the title, and this function this function should be the one that handles the content that is going to be displayed within the meta box. So this is actually the function meta box price, and as the WordPress documentation says, it will receive, or it is expecting, a post object. Now this is this line 57 is how we create that link, that bridge between our main or our plugin and WordPress. So you can see I'm calling this MVC, which means Model View Controller or Modern View Control, call price controller at or function meta box, and pass by the post object. That is what we're doing here. So this line over here will actually call to the price controller meta box function and pass by the post that will come from the that WordPress is going to pass by to the main class. Only with that, I'm pretty sure that we will be able to display the meta box. So we're going to test this now. So before I do this, there's something I forgot to do. Well, as you can remember, we already set up the namespace for our plugin. But here on the plugin.php that is located on root of your plugin, there's this information that you can fill in order to add more information and description to your plugin. And this information is the one that is going to be displayed in the plugins list within within WordPress dashboard. So here I'm going to call my awesome price, and I'm going to save this. And now let's go to the install I have for this. So on the development side, since I installed this, should not be activated. But if I go to the install plugins, since I created the folder within the plugins folder, my awesome price should be, in this case it's activated because I was doing testing, but here you can see it should be like this. It should not be activated. I just created the name, my awesome price. Look at my description, my name or company. This information that is here is the one that you need to fill here. So you can come here and just change it, and this information will change here. So let's activate my awesome price. Right, so I activate it, and let's go to the post, the hello world post, and see if the meta box is actually being created. And yes, you can see that actually the meta box is actually being created because of our plugin. And we can check that this is currently actually this is real, right? I'm going to disable actually deactivate my awesome plugin, and try to go to hello world again, and you will see that the meta box is not there because it's actually being part of the plugin, and is what we just created. And we can actually see this. Let me activate the plugin again so you can see that this is actually real. So let's go to all post, hello world, and here I'm going to do this little trick within Chrome, and it's the inspect thing. And you can see that, let me see okay. So here inside should be the input that I created, right? Here is it. Look at this. Div class. Oh, it's not here. Sorry. Yeah, this is the information that we created. My class, label, price, and this is the input that we created with the placeholder. You can see, right? Good. Now, if I update this, it will not do anything because we haven't linked the save post functionality. We haven't created the connection or the bridge between WordPress and the save post functionality, and that's something that we're going to do now. Okay, so if we go to the main file, right here, our main file, we need to add the hook or the action to actually save the post. So I'm pretty sure it's add, or I'm going to copy it here. So very similar to the meta box function. So we're calling to save post action from WordPress, and we're saying to this action, you know what, when you're going to save the post, call to save post within the main class. So I'm going to copy the function that I already created, and I'm going to explain what it is going to do. It's very similar to the MetaBox price to this function, so let's review it. So the save post is receiving by default the post ID. So what we're going to do here, since since we created a MetaBox only for post, we are making a little validation here and verifying that before we call to the price controller save function, that the post is actually a post. Because if it's a product or a page or whatever, we don't want to save this. We don't want to create a call to this price controller save function. So we do the get post type post ID, and if this is a post. If this is a post, then we call to this MVC call price controller save. And we pass by the post ID. So this line, what it's going to do is it will call to the price controller, and we'll call to the save controller save function that we created, and we'll perform the price save functionality that we just developed. So let's see this happening. Let me save the file and be sure that we are saving this. And now if I do something like this, yeah, the price of this post is $99. Let's update this and let's see what happens. You see, the thing is being updated. Now let's verify that this is working, right? Let's go to all posts, let's go back to hello world, and you see 99 is being there. Let's change it to 24.99, update this, and yeah, it's 24.99. But what happened? If I go to view post, you will see that no information right now is being appended, no information is being displayed. As we said, we created a functionality to filter the content and to append to the description the price information. So what we need to do is actually create that bridge, that connection between WordPress and the plugin we just created. So same as the other functionality, we need to create or add the action or hook into the main class. So since this is a public functionality that we are adding to our plugin, this should be added to the init function instead of the onAdmin. So it will be add filter to the content, which this is something defined already by WordPress, and we're telling to WordPress to call to the filter content function within the main class. So I'm going to copy what I already developed, which is this, and paste it over to our main class so we can review it. Okay, so the filter content, what it's doing is it is receiving the content. We're validating, right, that the post that we are viewing is actually a post. And look at the difference here. I want you to look at the difference. This is part of the lightweight MVC. It has two functions: the call, right, which we have been using on the past functions, and the action that is we're using it right now. What's the difference, you may say? Well, it's very clear. Actually, the action will return the value, so you can do something like this: return action. But that will not happen if you use call, because call, what it will do, it will echo the value that is going to be returned by the price controller. So in this case, since here we're returning in this case we're returning the MetaBox, the model view controller will actually echo or print the MetaBox, and we don't want that behavior for the content. We did want the filter content to be returned, because that's something, or that's the behavior that actually the WordPress is expecting for the filter content filter. So what we do is this MVC action instead of call, and we call to price controller filter content, and as parameter, if we go here and double check, we are expecting the post ID and the content. And to do that, we call to get VID function that is part from WordPress, and the content that the filter is being that is passing by as parameter. So with this, only with this, we should be able to display the extra line that we added for the content. So let's save this and just refresh this. And perfect. As you can see, it is being displayed. But look at this. Why is 24.99 on red? What's happened? We never add that color. That's because I was doing some tests within the theme that is currently selected for this WordPress install. So if you go to the theme, you will see this is the 2015. You will see the same structure that we have for our plugin, right? That is views, price, and content and meta box. This means that you can add these views per theme, and this will let you customize or add different styles for the views depending on the theme selected. So you can see here for the content, actually I have the same thing, but instead I have like a style red for the price. You see? That's why this is being displayed red and it's not being displayed as we defined here, which is without the red price. Okay, so we cover the basics of the plugin. I hope you can use it and it helps you develop awesome plugins for WordPress, and helps you obviously to have elegant code and organized code that you can actually maintain, and it's easy to follow and know where the information is.